We were forced to close because of the lawsuits. I'm still going to reopen this pizzeria with new animatronics, dumping away the useless garbage. We're going to reopen it more safe. Oh. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. What? Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Jesus Christ. Hey there, and welcome to Five Nights at Maggie's 3, the classic version. Oh, changing the music now. We're actually have that like kind of like that stock Kevin MacLeod music. Certainly makes this seem a lot more eerie. I think they've been using Kevin MacLeod music throughout the other games. I feel like I've seen their name in the credits already, but I might be mistaken. But this one at least is very recognizable. Now this is going to be an interesting one because obviously, and I've talked about this as we've played through the classic games, this is not the last game in the classic series, right? There is one more. However, the reboot trilogy obviously ended with the third game. And so I'm curious to see where things are going to go from a story perspective. I'm also very curious about how this game is going to turn out in comparison to the previous two, because obviously I have my critiques of the second game more so than the first game. And the third game, I imagine, is going to have a lot more story-wise. From a story perspective, it should be pretty interesting because last time in Five Nights at Maggie's 2, we played as Stacey McAdams, which is already a big reveal, given what we know about the reboot trilogy. And we know that the museum in question in the second game burned down. We obviously found out about a new animatronic, Jerry, and I don't know, at least I'm trying to remember if there was anything major that we saw, right? Obviously, we had some post-shift sections. We got to see Surdy kind of walking around. They looked at this portrait of Surdy and a kid. And so it starts making me wonder, like, who exactly is Surdy at this point in time? Who's Jerry? Because that's something that's never really discussed in the reboot trilogy. So I don't really have much information on that either. Or at least not even information because they're not related story-wise. But there's nothing to even like suggest about Jerry because they had such a small role in the reboot trilogy. Hell, they were only in the second game for a couple nights and that's it. Anyways, with that said, we're gonna hop right in. You want to know the truth, right? I'm just gonna say that. It sounds weird trying to say this. Sit down and listen. This is gonna take a while. Okay, I called you in here because I trust that you'll keep this secret. I want to make sure I don't accidentally skip anything because there's a giant skip button at the bottom there, so I don't want to press a button. But I think... Okay, enter safe. We are doing a secret investigation about the things that happened in Guppies. The death of those two employees and the missing children's incident. We had a detective on this case, but he quit. He was an amateur anyway, so we're not losing much. Well, like I was saying, we were going to go to the pizzeria and bring us some stuff to work with. I guess we're looking for evidence, newspapers, and other stuff that can help us know what happened. This night, you will go to the night guard's office and write down everything that can help us. When you find something, just click on it. Something like posters, phones, lights, etc. I left a flashlight and batteries in your office. By the way, the flashlight is kind of malfunctioning and you will have to recharge it constantly. Can't just buy a whole new flashlight? Well, good luck. Okay. Night 1. Security guard office. They go faster in the dark. Interesting that they kind of show like the specific location. Makes you wonder if we're going to be seeing other spots. Now if we see here, okay, so a lot more of a classic look. Click on the objects to write about them. Antique phone. Okay, no, that's not the right lamp. I guess we don't care about the coffee mug. Left light doesn't work. Same for the right light. Read me. Please, read this if you want to stay alive. I said still, but whatever. If they are in the window, flash them in the face. If they are at the doors, close them. Hold the button. If they are in your office, look them in or flash them in the face. Don't waste your flashlight battery. It's the only thing that can help you. Good luck. Oh, I see. Okay. So I've been okay. Jerry's poster. So basically, we have a limited, pretty much function here. We have no cameras. That's very interesting. You know, I do remember. Oddly enough, I can't recall Five Nights at Maggie's 3's gameplay as cleanly as the first two. It's odd because Five Nights at Maggie's 3 is, you know, like one of the biggest games, like story-wise in the reboot trilogy. But oddly enough, I can't recall it super easily. I'm actually gonna take a look at it while I can. Now, this whole idea about the battery power is something interesting because you basically can only recharge it every so often. You need it to ward off the animatronics. So I think in general, I'm just gonna have to be very careful about this. Let's do that. 2 a.m. I think we're at a good pace though. Wait, let me take a look real quick at how the game looks. Wait. Something somewhere left. Or they're gonna be soon. Jerry and Surdy. Wait, hold on. Wasn't I supposed to shut the door? Oh. Oh, I was supposed to shut the door. Wait. Force him out. Shut the door. Hold it. Okay. Okay. I think they're definitely gonna go around this in a bit of a, like, you know, separate locations, right? Because we're an investigator. It makes me think of a bit of not Five Nights, Jolly 3 Chapter 1 almost, where even though, yeah, you're in the same office, right, for the game, after each night you're like investigating different parts of the establishment looking for evidence. That's what this is making me think of so far. Jesus Christ. You know, the jump wasn't even what scared me the most. It was the actual scream. Holy, that's such a weird moment there because both of them showed up. Jesus. Okay, so looking back at the reboot game, right? You know, obviously, like, there's cameras. There was even a camera for like the main vent and breakers, from what I remember, or from what I hear. I remember there's like a whole grid for the breakers they have to like fix, I think. It's interesting how it goes back to this like familiar FNAF you know, setup, right? You have the two doors on your left and right. You have the light for the doors, and you know, you can close the doors. So again, it really stays closer, more traditional FNAF-like mechanics compared to what the second game did, right? And you know, both the classic games and the reboot pretty much do the same thing here. Or I guess, you know, the classic games, you know, went from how different the game was in the you know, the second game was so different gameplay wise, and then they went back to this kind of like more traditional layout, and the reboot trilogy kind of does the same thing. Okay, go away. Yeah, I'm not messing around like that. You can't hear. Now, what's kind of nerve-wracking is you can't hear where they go either. I gotta put up my volume. Yeah, like a couple seconds is pretty much all you need. I really do not want to run into that scream again. It's kind of ominous. They haven't shown up. It's just this weird, like, it's uncomfortable because not only do you need to rely on the flashlight, but it's like the last thing you want is to miss them. Like, you have to do these full directional turns. It's similar to how Five Nights at Maggie's 2 classic was. I think it got in. You can hear when they get in. It's actually interesting because Five Nights at Maggie's 2 obviously went in that weird direction with the whole, you know, you have to like turn to use the cameras and whatnot. Here you kind of have to do a similar thing, but it's like, it's not like it's similar in concept because the only way you know you're in danger besides the sound cues, is if you see them at the window. Right? Wait, what the hell was that? But if you don't see them at the window, you have to be very careful. If you don't see them at the window, I don't know. I feel like you... I mean, again, if it wasn't for the sound cues and you can only see them at the window, it'd be much more terrifying, probably. Because it'd be so much more easier to get caught off guard. But anyways, now it makes you wonder, how is this game gonna be structured, right? Is this just like an intro segment? Are we gonna actually have like a... Like how's it gonna work gameplay-wise, I wonder? It got in. What the hell? Okay, so far, I've been trying to see like how long they stay before closing. I think I could just do a 1, 2, then open the door. They leave remarkably quickly. 1, 2. There we go, finally. Whew. So now this will probably find out whether this ends up being our main gameplay loop or not. I have a hard time believing it, mainly because they kind of describes like, you know, it's night 1, you're in the security guard office. It makes me feel like you're gonna have multiple locations. I always thought that bad people were bad because they wanted to. I guess because they want to be. Now I realize that I was wrong all this time. Almost all bad people have a reason to be bad. Yeah, okay. This is a long story. And kind of hard to explain. I'm the only one who listened to everything. Who saw everything. Everything starts in 1980 with the Guppy's establishment. A new pizzeria opened, and they were searching for employees. Is this one of the employees that died? 2 guys went to ask for jobs. 2 great friends. Now it makes me feel like he is one of the... whoever this guy is... Whoever this Adam Sherlock is one of the employees. Are you ready? Not really. Come on, it's not too hard. And you know we need this job. Yeah, right. Let's go in. CNJ, Surdy and Jerry. So this is a point in time, but it's not... Honestly, it's not Guppy's here, or maybe this is a different stage? Hi, do you work here? I'm the owner of this place. Are you here for the jobs? Oh, I didn't know that you were the owner. And yes, we're here for the jobs. Well, I'm John, and this is my friend Paul. Huh, John, huh? Nice to meet you, sir. It's nice to meet you too. Call me Manuel, please. Okay, well, the jobs, are they taking it? No, you are the first... Oh, they're the first ones here for the job. Do you have some experience working on animal suits? Yes, sir. We worked in some birthday parties. Perfect. Well, you both will work in Surdy and Jerry. So they're the suit performers, which I guess makes sense. You literally have John wearing the orange for Surdy, yellow-orange for Surdy, and Paul wearing blue for Jerry. The mascots of this place. These suits have a spring mechanism, so you don't have to get the endoskeleton out every time you want to use the suit. We made some tests on some dummies, and they are very safe. Until now, nothing happened. Haha, until now. Well, do you want jobs? Of course. Okay, come on in. Let's sign everything and let's make this official. Come tomorrow in the morning. My son will teach you how to use the springs. You both are now part of Surdy's entertainment. So this is not Guppy's establishment. Welcome. Because Guppy's establishment was from 1980 to 1989. Playing with your nightmares. When you see a hand, close the door before it reaches the box. You can only have one door closed at a time. Ah, okay. Oh, there's a lot. Oh, I see. Interesting. So it's kind of like, well, I guess, interesting way, interesting variant of like whack-a-mole. Now it says 12 there. Is this again like just like? Do we treat this as like a regular night? right? It's not like a post shift section. Oh, I saw something glint there. I'm not taking chances. At least so far. Honestly, so far this has differed quite a lot from Five Nights at Maggie's 3. Because the post shift sections for Five Nights at Maggie's 3 in the reboot was it's kind of like deal with the animatronics and whether you would fix them or not. You had like two choices. Depending on the choice you make, you get a specific ending. So, now this is a little nerve-wracking because I don't know what will end up being the consequence of whether to get this box or not, but I can't see all the doors, so you have to kind of like constantly pan around to make sure you don't miss one. Oh, there you go. It kind of is like whack-a-mole. I don't know what happens if you miss one hand, though. I think it might be something like, oh, they peek their hand out here and there, and then, you know, the longer they go without being stopped or blocked with the doors, they might get a bit more ambitious. Now, I feel like I'm seeing two hands, because that hand was blue, and I'm pretty sure I saw a yellow hand earlier, so I saw something move there. Yeah, see, you can barely see that. There's like a little claw in the background there of that door. Like that one's probably one of the hardest ones to see. At least the other doors, you get like an actual like color there, but there you can see like this thin line waving there a little bit. But either way, great job. All right. A phone, lights, posters. In other words, nothing useful. We can make this work. How? Well, today you will go to a different room. So it is gonna be, you know, kind of like different sections. There was another game that did this. What's it called? It's on the. Damn it. Jackie's Forest Outsourced did something like this as well, where every night was like a different gameplay loop. Guppy's room is next. There are a few boxes in there with some interesting stuff. You know, plushies, newspapers, etc. Bring what you think is necessary. I left some batteries in your office. Good luck. Night 2, Guppy's Party Room. The music can save you. 7 spaces left. Battery power, 6 batteries. Space for the music box. Okay, maybe I wasn't supposed to do that yet. Use the music box to calm down Guppy. Recollect the most important things from the 4 boxes. Box 1, plushies. Box 2, children's drawings. Box 3, newspapers. And box 4, blueprints. Good luck. Okay. How do I put this away? There's nowhere else to look, so I guess we'll check here. Oh, wait a minute. So I have to pick. That's interesting. Okay. So maybe in this case, let's pick. There's no choice in making. There's no difference in the choices. Okay. New pizzeria open. Wait. Shoot. How do I? That's not what I meant to do. New pizzeria opened. Yesterday, Monday, 2nd of June, opens a new pizzeria between 23rd and 45th Street. The pizzeria is called Surdy's World, with 2 pets called Surdy the Pig and Jerry the Bunny. This pizzeria has animatronics with the newest technology. The owner is Manuel Gennaro, a man of 60 years. I invest my whole wealth, I guess, pretty much. They invested all of their money into the pizzeria. I had a lot of difficulties in the process. It was hard work, especially getting these animatronics with this kind of technology, but I see a big future in this, and I think everything is going to be fine until I'm dead. And then, Niño Perdido, missing child. Wait, hold on. Alright, relax, Guppy. Okay, I'm trying to... Uh-oh. Oh, that scared me. No, put this away. I'm checking the wrong things. I gotta hurry up. I think this is gonna be important. They were last seen at Guppy's Magical World at 8 p.m. The fathers left him alone to talk to the owner. The place is Daniel Gennaro. And when they turned back to see it, he was no longer there. He's been lost for more than 12 hours and the family is desperately looking for him. This is the second tragedy. Okay, I think that's gonna be important. What's in box number 3? Surdy. Jerry. Not sure if any of these are going to be important right now. We do have blueprints. I think blueprints are going to be very important. Okay. For now, we have space for 3 more items. What else would I take? Obviously, we took everything in spot number 4. I mean, there's nothing I can really see here. Oh, no, you don't. Maybe my birthday. Oh, wait, we took everything in there? Space left. Wait, I didn't mean to take everything. At this rate, it makes it seem as though I could just take everything. Oh, wait, no. I can't take anymore. So I just ended up, I guess I technically got an additional 4 free items, I guess. I mean, I don't think there's anything else. Like, why would I take any of the other plushies, right? I think Surdy makes sense, and the, you know, thing about the establishment opening doesn't really make too much sense either. Or at least it wouldn't make sense to really bring that newspaper clipping. I'm not sure why. I feel like this mechanic, I think, or this kind of post-shift segment, I think, took place in Five Nights at Maggie's classic revival, I think, that fan game. Because this mechanic sounds similar. Like, I remember in that fan game, we were kind of like investigating what was going on, and I think you were able to choose. I might be mistaken, but this sounds familiar. Like, the idea of, like, trying to pick specific things for your investigation. It sounds like a very familiar premise, so I'm not too sure. And for a second I was wondering whether there was actually a time limit or something, but I guess I pretty much had till 6 AM to pick whatever I think was absolutely necessary. Oh lord. Okay, it's fine. I'll just have to wait for the music to come back. So we already know about 2 employees going missing at the establishment at one point, and the missing children incident. So far, they did mention 2 kids, or they mentioned 2. Did they mention 2 kids specifically going missing, or was it 2 people? They said it was the second incident, so one would, I think, come to the conclusion that it's 2 kids in this scenario. Question is, how many more? We obviously know there was Manuel Gennaro, and then Daniel Gennaro at one point. We then have John and Paul, who would end up being performers for Surdy and Jerry, respectively. At least based on the color scheme, that's what I'm led to believe. So already, this game is definitely going in a much different direction gameplay-wise compared to the first 2 games, which is a nice breath of fresh air. Manuel hired them instantly. He saw future on them. Again, I'm pretty sure this is like due to like translation. I'm basically saying he saw a very good future for both of them, for the future of the company. His son, the maintenance guy of the place. Okay, the maintenance guy, his son Daniel, I'm guessing, taught him how to use the suits. And he told them each one of the safety rules. Oh, he told both of them the safety rule regarding the spring locks, right? Or the spring mechanisms. Well, listen carefully. These robots have, as you can see, springs. What you're going to do is push back the part with the springs, and you're going to lock them in place. Do you understand? Make sure the spring locks are, locked in. Obviously, we know this already. And then you have to pull back the springs. That seems easy. Is he pulling them back while he's wearing the suit? That doesn't look easy, or maybe he's just standing behind it. Yes, it's not that hard. And one more thing. For legal reasons, I have to tell you the safety rules. Nothing bad ever happened with them, but still. Don't make sudden movements. Don't jump. I mean, can you even realistically jump with these kinds of suits? I mean, they have the endoskeletons in them. Don't run. Again, can you even run? I guess it's more like don't attempt to, right? Because those are sudden movements anyway. But that can cause the springs to unhook, and pretty much result in injury. Very deadly injury, mind you, because I'm pretty sure because they're, at least from how I understand the spring locks, right? The moment one lock gives, I don't know if it's like a chain reaction, right? Like a domino effect. Once one lock not unloosens, but unhooks, the pressure from that lock would then cascade to the other ones, right? assumingly so, because it's not even unhooked, but like they would untighten basically, or they would no longer be locked in place. Like I would imagine the force from one lock getting displaced would then kind of like cascade throughout the entire endoskeleton. Okay, thank you. One question: when do we start? Today, 3 p.m. We have a birthday. Ah, a girl, 5 years old. Her name is Stacy. So that also confirms another thing. The John here, the performer, is not John McAdams, right? Because obviously we know Stacy is Stacy McAdams. So again, another separation in that degree. I mean, John is a pretty common name for sure, but you know, again, interesting. Again, we're talking about like, you know, the reboot trilogy. John McAdams is the main antagonist. They wear the sturdy suit. Here we have John who wears a sturdy suit, it seems like. But they're not really an antagonist at this point, or there's nothing to suggest that anyway, and there's no relation. So it's very interesting how different the stories have changed. But he's like, alright, thank you a lot, bye-bye. Nice and straightforward, right? Is this my life now? Ooh, looks like dear old Daniel isn't very happy being a maintenance guy. Teaching nobodies how to use these old suits. Could be doing so much more. But they won't let me. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Playing with your nightmares. Okay, so this is kind of like, this is what we call the post-shift section, basically, then. I wonder what happens if they get whatever's in the box, then. Because so far, obviously we're repeating segments now. Close that. And it's also... Oh, there are multiple. I was right. There's so you do not assume that it's just one door you have to close, like, and then leave for a bit. It's like there's multiple threats. So just because you close the door on one of them, right? Like, yeah, that'll be fine. But the problem is that there are multiple threats here. Again, what is going on? This is our nightmares, right? So what's in the box? That's so important. I can't help but wonder, maybe a good strategy would be to do something like this. Let's see. Like, close the door, but then switch immediately. Oh, but they can do that. They can strike multiple doors at once. I did not consider that either. And it makes me wonder, actually, would it be, how long, let's see. Oh, they actually, okay, so you can really see their hands starting to pull out. It's not like they peek out a little bit and then again, no. They kind of, they reach out very slowly. Okay, I mean, I guess we can try and figure out what's in the box. It looks like there's plushies of some kind, from what I can make out, drawings, and then I don't know what those, I think that's a plant behind the box here, because you have something like stretching out. But no, that's too horizontal to be a plant, though. You have like some sort of like blue poles or something, sticks, like you see like right alongside here. I'm not sure what that is. These things are interesting and can help us. Okay. You're doing a very good job. Today you will go to another room, Cracky's room. You will search for things in the boxes like yesterday. Good luck. Plushies, children's drawings, newspaper, blueprints. Same evidence as before. Cracky hides in the dark. Keep an eye on the shadows. When you see it, flash and be fast. Well, that doesn't provide me much comfort, really. Let's see. Let's ignore the drawings for now. Huh. Okay, I want to get these, but I'm also kind of worried. Damn, it's always something like this that's like, no, I don't want to select anything yet. Nope, put that back, put that back. Okay, pizzeria closed. Guppy's Magical World will be closed after the 5th year being open because of the lawsuits about 2 children going missing. Okay, so that gives an idea as to why the place closed down. We know 2 children. We were forced to close because of the lawsuits. I'm still going to reopen this pizzeria with new animatronics, dumping away the useless garbage. We're going to reopen it more safe. Oh. Oh, whoa. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Jesus Christ. I was like, what the hell? Like, oh my god. I gotta pay attention a bit better to what the hell Cracky does and what am I supposed to do? Keep an eye on the shadows. When you see it, flash him and be fast. Shadows? What's shadows? Anyways, this one we're gonna get Daniel Gennaro. So he ended up being the owner at one point. Surdy's World in renovation. After Manuel's death and after his son Daniel got in charge of the pizzeria, they decided to bring some new things, adding 2 animatronics, Guppy and Cracky, and changing the name of the pizzeria to Guppy's Magical World. The old animatronics will be part of the pizzeria as well, Surdy and Jerry, but they won't be the main attraction. I think this can be good for the company after 5 years doing the exact same thing. Bring new things to it for a new public, new technologies, new games. This will be good. Everything I do for my father. I know he'd want me to. After his death, we all miss him. Interesting, Daniel. Okay. Taking the reins. But given that we already know about his feelings of, well, how do we say, discontent being a maintenance guy, makes me wonder if he had any involvement in his father's death, perhaps. They didn't mention 2 employees dying. I assumed they would be the Surdy and Jerry performers, but that might not be the case. That might not be the case after all. Hey there. Okay, so that's what I'm supposed to do. Okay. Surdy. I'm trying to see. The drawings I think should be last. And then we'll always take the blueprints, because the blueprints I think are always going to be important. Now there's space for 2 more items. Let's see. The best day. I don't know. Oh, go away. We're going to take Surdy again. Screw it. And we'll take all the drawings. Sure, why not? Oh, wait a minute. You don't take all the drawings this time around. I wonder why I took all of them last time. Maybe it was a bug or something. Also, I'm going to assume that Cracky only shows up at this door. Oh, something's here. Nope. Okay, there we go. So we have... No, he does not always show up at the left side. Just wait for any form of footprints or footsteps. Now, regarding the evidence that we keep getting, right, I wonder if there's actually any significance to, like, what you choose to bring, right? Because obviously, yeah, like the most obvious stuff, blueprints, newspaper articles, maybe, even drawings to some extent. But, like, is there any impact depending on what I bring? Like, you know, a plushie, random drawing that doesn't have any significance. I wonder if the choice actually matters of, like, what you bring. Wait, where'd he go? Oh, I don't like this. Oh, he's right there. That was so... I barely saw his head behind the box there. Oh, come on. What? Do I have to aim my cursor perfectly at his head or something? Because I was literally looking at him the whole time. Final stretch now. Oh, perfect timing. Okay. So I'm guessing we're going to have another nightmare section. We'll get through that. And we'll leave it off there. Well, actually, no. I'll probably have to listen to the... whatever dialogue is before night 4. Now, let's see what you have to say. 4 years later, Manuel died. Since that moment, everything got worse. See, now, again, if we just find out how Manuel died. Let's see here. Manuel's son got in charge of the pizzeria. Yeah, we heard about the changes he made. He spent all of the money on new things for the pizzeria. He brought 2 new animatronics and changed the name of the pizzeria to Guppy's Magical World. Now, the 2 friends are worried for their jobs. Huh. Is it because they no longer need suits? Or they don't need performers? Do you think that we can lose our jobs? What? No, this pizzeria needs us. We have been here for 4 years now. And the animatronics have a lot of defects. Well, you're right. And I doubt that Daniel will want to explain all the steps over and over. Yeah, relax. We're gonna be okay. I hope so. So, see, now, okay, we'll have to do this, but, see, now that makes me wonder then. Does that mean that Serdi and Jerry are possessed by those two employees? It's very highly likely. I mean, the game's kind of already the game. Yeah, the game is pretty much already kind of like hinting towards that. The whole trilogy or the series has been hinting toward that at this point, right? It would actually help explain a bit about why we have that moment in the second game where Serdi looks at that portrait of Serdi, you know, Serdi and a kid. That might have been John wearing the suit, and he was looking at a fond memory, like when times were simpler, when they were alive. That actually might explain that moment very nicely. Which, if that's the case, that would pretty much change the whole nature of this series from like the animatronic standpoint. Because, again, for essentially the entirety of the reboot trilogy, you have the animatronics that are, you have Serdi, who's always been, you know, in control by John, right? His experiments finally worked. And then the other animatronics are pretty much possessed by the kids, kind of, in a sense, result. I don't know if they're, I don't remember if they're all, I know, like, for example, Guppy is the way he is because of John's experiments. I think, Jerry, I don't know if Jerry was like that. I think Maggie was. Again, it's hard trying to remember exactly, but I guess my point being is that in this case we seem to be dealing with a more traditional story of animatronics possessed by, you know, missing children, the dead employees, right? Instead of it being like this huge malicious thing that happened, right? That's been spanning, like, again, because like when you look at the trilogy, it's like John McAdams has killed what? I think I don't remember the actual count, but I think he might have been responsible for the death of at least around maybe like 7 or 8 children, I think. Because there's a bunch of children that he experimented on that just were failures in the experiments, right? So he obviously experimented on 2 of his own children, right, as well. So, you know, there was like that huge, like, you know, character with John McAdams being central to the whole plot. In this case, we're not too sure though, right? Because I guess on one hand, it is also possible that if John was possessing Serdi, maybe he was responsible for the missing children incident to ruin the restaurant, ruin the business as revenge towards Daniel. So again, it could be, again, the flow of the story so far is shaping up to be something a lot more familiar, right? With like the possibility of like this revenge plot, maybe. If, you know, the way things are going, right, John and Paul end up dying, you know, due to suit malfunctions, and as a result have a lot of resentment towards the business and Daniel. So I'm curious to see how everything comes up here. It's a nice change of pace. I have to admit, I really am enjoying this game a lot more than the second one, or even the first one, for that matter, because I think, narratively speaking, there's obviously a much bigger focus. Well, I'll get these 2 out of here. There's obviously a much bigger narrative focus, right? Or at least, you know, we're getting a lot more story details with the, you know, those, you know, the knights are like having newspaper articles, we have drawings, blueprints, even though we can't really analyze the blueprints. And then you have the, you know, like some of these like little mini games that are like showing the lives of both John and Paul as performers and how the restaurant's been transforming. So narratively speaking, it's a lot more satisfying to actually go through the game and get that kind of information. Whereas the first and second game, in a lot of ways, felt like you're kind of coasting through and you're not really learning a lot about what's going on. I think it's one of the things that for sure has been majorly improved in the reboot trilogy, the storytelling. Obviously, like, it's just been, you know, they've been focusing a lot with like the, you know, post-shift cutscenes, you know, tapes in the second game. I don't know. There's a reason why I really enjoyed the reboot trilogy the way I did. Now, if these could just stop, go away. Alright, great job. So far, pretty easy there. Well done. We can finish the case now. Oh, really? We got all the evidence? Okay. Well, what evidence do we even have? Still, I want you to go back. You will go to the parts and services room. You don't have to stay until 6 a.m. Just take note about the things you find and go home. Thank you a lot for your help. Come tomorrow to get your paycheck. Screw it, we'll actually keep going then. Let's see what they mean when they say we don't have to stay till 6 a.m. because it's only night 4. Let's see. Batteries left 4 this time. Read me. Okay, this is your last night, but I want you to read carefully. There is a secret room in this place. That room is full of interesting things that the company hid. This room is behind the stage. You have 2 options. Go away after this night and end the case. Come back, grab more stuff, leave, and end the case. Good luck. Okay. Jerry's head, Surdy's head, and old Surdy and old Jerry. I can just choose to go home. Hell, now that I'm actually getting a good look at the Jerry suit, it has blood on it. So that definitely confirms that, same thing for the Surdy suit. It definitely confirms that both John and Paul died in the suit incidents, obviously. I mean, again, they pretty much alluded to that, but, you know, like, they did just say the 2 employees died, but we know for a fact it was spring lock incidents. Now, the question is whether the spring lock incidents were, in fact, on purpose or not. Like, if I were to think from their perspective, right, and they're vengeful about dying in the suits, what exactly happened? For one, I find it hard to believe that these are just left bloody like this. It makes me feel as though maybe their deaths in the suits... I mean, no, it couldn't be secret, though. Doesn't make sense. Well, we know... Actually, no, what am I even saying? It can't... It's not a secret that they died. Their deaths had to be public, right? So they just... I guess he just never bothered washing the suits? Wow, they never... This is the part that's weird. If the police knew about John and Paul's death, they collected the bodies, why the hell is this still here? Would they have not investigated or taken this as evidence? That's something that is pretty strange. Or maybe, unless the suits were hidden to prevent the police from getting them, but I have a hard time believing that would have worked. Then again, it might not be a detail that was ever considered. I don't know. Something that I sometimes think about as well when I see all these bloody suits, right? It's like, yeah, in some cases, like, yeah, of course, the police doesn't even know about the whole, you know, suits being bloody or not. But it's like, in this case, you would think the police would have collected it. Okay, we hit 6 a.m. 1988. I wonder if you went home, would you even gotten this? This day was horrible for everyone. It's a year before Guppy's closes, especially for those who were in the pizzeria. But today, 20 years later, almost everyone forgot it. This was the tragedy that started everything. Okay, so I think it is going to be about their suit malfunctioning. God, this was a hard birthday. Yes, first time in years that the kids are so hyperactive. Some of them kicked me. Thank God the springs are strong. We can be in the hospital right now. Jesus. Yeah. But hey, tomorrow's payday. That should be good enough, right? Heh, of course. Well, let's take these things off. He jumped off the stage. John? Oh, yep. John, don't move! And he ran to John. Wow. That was very unexpected. I feel like there's just something a little weird about that, just because they were explicitly told not to jump off the stage to begin with. How have they been getting on the stage this entire time? You know what I mean? Like, huh? Return? Oh. Could I have just gone home and not wait until 6 a.m.? We'll return. Yeah, easily. Night 5? Why'd you come back? Actually, hold on. Well, let's hold off here for a moment there. What the hell? Hold on. Actually, screw it. Screw it. We'll finish this up, I guess. Press here to check. Oh, no. Oh, no, you two. I don't want to deal with you two. Read. If you're reading this, I'm dead. I took care of your work and separated all of the most important from the boxes and left them on the walls. Take everything you can and survive. Use the music box to keep them away. If they are too close, flash them. Don't let them get in the room. Good luck. Oh, God. Okay. Let's see. Can I just take whatever I want? 2 employees died. There was a tragic loss in Guppy's magical world. 2 employees died inside the animatronic suits. Their names were John Stevens, 26-year-old, and Paul Campbell, 24 years old. John died after he left the stage, where his springs unhooked because of the kicks that he received from the kids, crushing him to death. Paul tried to help his friend right after him, and because of that, his springs unlocked too, crushing him to death. The company is discussing what to do with the family of those employees, with no doubt the worst tragedy this place has ever seen. Okay, what else? Have you seen this child? Last time seen was in Guppy's magical world. That was the picture at the museum? Oh, hey there. I don't know what... I forgot. What was I supposed to do if you're up here? I'm gonna die, aren't I? No. Yep, I saw that one coming. If they're too close, flash them. I think I was supposed to, like, spam the flashlight, I'm guessing. Okay. So I think the music box is just to keep them at bay in general. So we'll collect this and this. These two are very important. Why were they screaming? Oh, very important. What did I say? I don't like Surdy. Why Surdy had blood? What happened to Jerry? Where are they? I think the ones that are most important are this and maybe... No, I mean... There we go. The one with the actually spooky eyeballs. Okay, so we don't want this. Who is we? Like, what, they don't want me investigating? Maybe that's what they want to be... They don't want the establishment to keep going? I think the only weird part about that that scene, because it's clear what they were trying to go for, right? Like, even the newspaper article was talking about how because of the kids kicking them earlier on the birthday, it caused the suits, the locks to come undone. But they also kind of showed him jumping off the stage, which you're not supposed to do to begin with. Now, if that's how they even, or, well, again, we say jump. Maybe that wasn't jumping, but like walking off the stage. Because I have a hard time believing they always jumped off the stage. That doesn't make sense. So we could try and say, like, maybe the kicks, you know, that, you know, he was kicked quite a bit. Maybe that helped loosen the spring locks a bit too much. And so when he took a step off the stage, it was just enough to pretty much let the spring locks loose. And of course, we know Paul died because he ran instinctively to help his dear co-worker. I guess now that I think about it, there's technically no reason for me to even leave the door, is there? Because as I can still play... Oh, there we go. Finally left. If I just stay here and watch them, what's the point of going back? Wait a minute. Where'd you go? Did you just walk back? Oh, they're moving. They're moving quite a bit. Hold on. I just gotta make sure that... Yeah, I gotta be careful with that. That's what I gotta be careful of. But yeah, I guess besides the minigame depicting it a bit weirdly there, again, I saw that and I was like, wait a minute, did he just jump off the stage? The one thing he was told not to do? I mean, it was oddly like, it was something I guess that was like so anticlimactic, mainly because it's like, yeah, it was a pretty blatant accident, right? I mean, yeah, the spring locks, you know, came loose partially in result of the vibrations from the kids roughhousing Surdy, and Paul. I guess it was. Oh, I imagine it was gonna be tragic, but they literally just died there, and they had no chance. The thing that is clear though is that they clearly never got the idea that the spring locks would have been dangerous enough to actually kill them. Because, I mean, there in that conversation, right, John was like, you know, we could have ended up in the hospital. So he had an idea that, yeah, this would have gravely injured them, or injured a part of them to some extent. But even when you think about what Daniel says when explaining the spring locks, right, he just mentions that, you know, they'll be injured if they, you know, move too rashly in the suits, right? So in a way, you could even argue he was downplaying the effects of the spring locks, which could be another reason why they are kind of vengeful towards the business. I mean, given the situation anyway, even if everything was done above board and they knew the risks, them being vengeful, I think, was something that might have always happened, especially if, as we saw in the dialogue for whoever is speaking, you know, whoever has been speaking to us all these nights, they felt I mean, was it? I don't know if it was them, but no, but like, I guess the idea is that they were forgotten, right? And that could have easily contributed to their vengeance in the first place. So now that we have, you know, a better idea of what's going on here, who is Steve Gennaro in relation to Daniel, right? Because he came to work in the first game. Maybe that helps highlight his motivations since he's very connected to the establishment, but I don't know, it's just something that kind of comes out of nowhere. I guess now that we know the connection, is like, yeah, he's related to the family that has this business. After all you found, you decided to go with your boss and tell him all about the murders and the children. I mean, they're not really, well, murders specifically. Well, the children were probably murdered, yeah, but John and Paul weren't really murdered per se. Pink Slip, your boss, thinking that you are crazy, fires you and ends the case without you. I gave him. How could I have messed that up? You literally have all the evidence, but you decide to publish your own article. The Daily Herald. We had all the information provided, and then it gets the people interested in the story. It looks like. Always hate it when I have to try and like keep up with the text and I sound weird trying to do so. Okay. Because of the article in question, a new case was opened to investigate the company, Gumpy's Entertainment. I mean, are they gonna do anything about those bloody suits? Literally? Oh, I should have taken a look. I saw the eyes. Later in 1990, the case ends with the closure of Maggie's magical world. Actually, that's right. While I was talking about Steve Gennaro working and everything, when did the events of that game take place? It says on the article, right? 1992. So after Maggie's closes, everything that you said ends up being true. Oh, I pressed enter that time. Okay, I thought I skipped something. You saw what happened to me. What I became. So I'm gonna guess this is John, right? I think that makes the most sense in this case. What I became, what I am now. Yeah. I'm lost. It looked like some text glitch there. I'm lost every day in this old and destroyed robot. You may be asking yourself right now, why did you do that? Why did you kill all those kids? They didn't do anything to you. Do you remember what I said? I always thought that bad people were bad because they wanted to. Now I realize that I was wrong all this time. So, I'm not saying that we are good people. We killed innocents. But this has a reason. I mean, not a good one. I mean, you're going for vengeance here, but okay. And it's very simple. It was a tragedy what happened these last few days. Yes, it was a terrible loss. Nah, we can replace them. Okay. Well, there you go. I was wondering what else. Okay. Yes. Well, what are you gonna do with the families? What should I do exactly? Well, you know, they lost a family member. Pay them for the loss. So you're telling me to spend the company's money on the families of those two idiots? Gosh, those two were useless. Well, they say that they're gonna sue the company. Are you kidding, right? Really? They want us to pay them for the loss of those two idiots? My god. I had enough of those two dying inside of the place. Nobody wants to come now. Yes, I think you are right. Well, what will happen if they sue the company? Those two were cowards. The families must be the same, or worse. What does that have to be? Cowards? Why? What? And the trial will take months or years to be done. Well, guess you're right. By the way, with the money of with the company's money, you can buy the trials. I mean, they're trying to say you can just buy off like just bribery. Believe me, I've done it before. Okay. The only thing that can close Jesus Christ. The only thing that The only thing that would cause the company to be closed are if he's basically saying missing children would be the only reason the company actually shuts down. Which will never happen, of course. What? Okay, so they basically heard him and like, you want to bet? I think it's time to close, sir. Yeah, it'll be better to leave. These two just got mocked to their faces. Wonderful. I mean, so you decided to just take his words to take advantage of what he said then? I mean, I'm not entirely surprised. But yeah, I guess now we have a better idea of why they became vengeful spirits. Those robots always caught my attention. I'm not talking about those four. I'm talking about those two. Guppy and Cracky? Those two. That have been here for a long time. They said robots, right? Those two. The faces of the restaurant. Oh no, Surdy and Jerry, sorry. I was about to say, like, what? If you stare at them for too long, you can feel that they're really watching you. And you feel that you won't sleep well that night. A lot of people think that they can't feel because they are robots, which makes sense. It's kind of, translation wise, it's always weird trying to like word these out a little bit, but I don't think that's entirely true. Ever since those two died, this restaurant is not the same. Everything is darker, and with all that happened with the kids, it's getting worse. But something will always stand out. And that is those two. You can feel that they really can see you. And when they stare back at you with those black holes with no life, you feel that they are in some way human. And that's why I'm afraid of this place. These aren't normal robots. Or maybe I'm getting crazy. I don't really know. That's all I have to say. Thanks for the interview. Ah, so this was, we were being interviewed about the... Oh, secret ending! Oh, look at that! We were being interviewed about our investigation into the place, and we were talking about our experience with these two. Huh. I'm not sure if I have to press anything, because it's kind of lingering there a little bit. Oh, there we go. And there we have the ending to Five Nights at Maggie's 3. See, now that makes me wonder then, how is the next game going to go? Because it feels like, in a way, this would have concluded, right? We have the interview, right? The article, you know, opened a new investigation. It's interesting how the story kind of feels like it concludes here, but there is a fourth game. I'm really curious to see how that turns out. Regardless, once again, great job to Manuel Gennaro for this. Again, it's crazy to see how this has come so far into the reboot trilogy. Thank you for all the support. That means a lot to me, and from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate that. I kind of like how, again, real ending. So the secret ending is also the true ending. Nice. Again, like, when you look at how everything kind of transpired then, like, this is a much more traditional take, or, you know, the original vision, a more, you know, traditional take on the story. You got 2 stars at once. I mean, it's quite, actually, now I think, hold on, I just realized one thing. What is the other figure that keeps popping up here? That's supposed to be Surdy, right? But we never see that version of Surdy. No, we definitely don't. And there's also, I just realized this is the room where everything happened. Also, is that a number 6 there? See, like a 6? Oh no, wait, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, okay, never mind. It was the night 5 anyway. Now, before we actually give on my thoughts and everything, let's go to extras. There's no custom night either, which makes sense because there is no singular, like, night experience, so it doesn't really fit for a game like this. Now let's see here. Surdy, Jerry, Guppy, Cracky, Nightmare Surdy. Oh, that's Nightmare Surdy in the actual nightmares. It's just that I never see them because I never let them get near me. You know, now I'm starting to wonder, is that supposed to be Surdy's scream as John? Is that supposed to be like his death throes or something? Okay, I guess, you know, be ready for more screams. Nah, it's definitely our screams. That one's his own though, because it's a nightmare. And then images. Talking with your boss, Guppy's entertainment, the closure of Maggie's magical world. First office for the game. Rejected, obviously. Interesting. Because this was obviously the original office, so I think it kind of got scrapped and turned into this like one level, really. Dev art of Cracky's office. Dev art of the new Surdy's model, which ended up being rejected. First version of the office. And you can see there's a little missing person poster. That's what the poster was on the board about the kid. Then the second version of the office, a bit change in lighting. Rejected animation. Rejected menu. Again with the rejected animation. Old and new Guppy. Oh, wait, what the hell? Oh, I kind of glitched that a little bit there. But that actually concludes, I guess we're pretty much covering the whole game in one video. That was not really what I was expecting. My thoughts on Five Nights at Maggie's 3. Obviously, from a gameplay structure, it has changed drastically from the first 2 classic games, right? For one, obviously, it goes into this more... It's still like 6 AM based gameplay and all that, but each night is its own unique location. A lot like, for example, the game Jackie's Forest Outsourced, where, you know, gameplay mechanic wise is a lot more simplified, right? You're not dealing with all these threats and at increasing difficulty. If anything, more so, because of this structure, the game's able to focus more on the story elements, right? Through the gameplay itself, specifically with the segments where you're collecting evidence, right? Reading the newspaper articles, looking at the drawings, blueprints, again, are kind of like a, you know, side thing. But that's kind of like where you learn the majority of the events, on top of stuff like the dialogue with Surdy and the different mini games that you see depicting the life of John and Paul up to the point of their deaths. Hell, even to the point after their deaths, I suppose, at that point. Now, again, it's really intriguing, right? This is something I'm gonna keep doing, like... Now, it's really intriguing how different this game is to the reboot. Because the reboot of Five Nights at Maggie's 3 is a lot more traditional in terms of like the gameplay, right? The very first office is kind of similar. You know, it's just like, again, you have doors on your left and right, the vent or like, well, not really a vent, but you know, you have doors left and right, cameras, vent camera, breakers. Like, it's a lot more, you know, simplified in that sense. You have post-shift sections where you're doing maintenance on the animatronics, and you know, depending on the route you go for that, you get a different ending. It's actually, honestly, this is like the biggest change, I think, between the classic and reboot games. Sure, like the second game also had a lot of changes, and the first game to some extent as well, but I feel like it just felt like such a different game here. And I think that, again, mainly because this game, compared to the previous two, had such a big focus on the story, which I really liked. I think that was a positive change in general. Gameplay-wise was very simple. Obviously, a lot of it was, you know, just watching animatronics. Again, very simple. Now, frankly, I want to talk about the story side of things, right? Now that we kind of got to the third game, obviously we have a fourth one. It's good to finally see Jerry's significance in the story. And in a sense, it makes sense why, or at least seeing Jerry's role in this game explains why he doesn't have a role in the reboot trilogy, right? Because Paul's motivation, or rather John and Paul being the antagonists of the classic games, is, you know, it's like the events revolving around the Five Nights at Maggie's classic games all revolves around the vengeance of John and Paul, right? Without those two, children would have never gone missing, the business would have been just fine. However, the reboot game, obviously, the reboot trilogy is very different because a lot of the conflict and a lot of the premise behind each game to begin with is a result of John McAdams' own experiments, right? And the impact that had on his family. It's a very different kind of story, so that part's actually pretty refreshing, and it's kind of cool to see how much it's changed. I think after playing these three games, for sure, I think it's safe for me to say I prefer the reboot trilogy, hands down, right? I can appreciate that this is where these games started, right? Over almost 10 years ago at this point, but it's clear that obviously these games have their flaws and whatnot. And I think it's just really cool, and in a way it's a testament to see how much the developer grew, not just from a game development standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint with the reboot trilogy, seeing how that story has changed and evolved from what they originally worked on here. Regardless, I'm actually happy to have had this experience. Initially, I was very unsure about playing this series in general because of how fondly I look at the reboot trilogy. But I think my perspective has definitely shifted, and I have an appreciation for how this game kind of walked so that the reboot trilogy could kind of take off and become this whole spectacle of a story, in a sense, when you take a look at it from the events that happened in the first game to the second and the third. With that said, though, I'm pretty excited to see where the fourth game goes now, because honestly, I don't know what is going to happen. Like, I can't think how it would progress from a narrative point of view, because again, this felt so much like a conclusion. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the fourth game. But of course, with all that said, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, hit that notification bell to keep up to date on future videos. The game will be in the description below as always, as well as a playlist of this entire playthrough I've been doing here. And with that said, I'll see you in another video. Take care.